Welcome to the Esoteric Architect. This is Alex. If you spend any time observing modern spiritual culture, you will eventually encounter a strange, forest green, wrinkled stone known as Moldavite. On global video platforms, it has become a viral terror. You will find thousands of videos where people, with genuine fear in their eyes, claim that this single mineral completely ruined their lives within weeks of buying it. They tell dark, chaotic stories, how they lost their long-term executive positions, how their marriages abruptly ended over a single bitter argument, how their health collapsed, or how financial ruin entered their homes. The internet has officially labeled this the Moldavite Curse. People treat this ancient stone like a haunted artifact from a horror film, warning others to stay away from its green reflection. But on this channel, we do not deal with shallow pop culture hysteria. We do not participate in emotional fairy tales, wishful thinking, or clickbait mystification. We analyze the underlying architecture of energy, matter, and human consciousness. When you look at this viral panic through a mature, analytical lens, you realize something very quickly. There is no curse. There is no malicious spirit hidden inside the stone trying to punish you for your sins. What the mainstream public calls a curse is actually a profound, uneducated misunderstanding of how high-frequency cosmic catalysts interact with the human energy field and the hidden layers of the subconscious mind. Moldavite is not a passive, comforting crystal. It is a violent, high-velocity accelerant. It operates with the cold precision of a universal law. Today, we are going to look past the internet myths. We are going to look behind the curtain of a devastating real-world tragedy, dissect the exact energetic mechanism of how Moldavite works, and establish the strict safety protocols you must follow if you choose to bring this unyielding force into your personal space. Let us step away from vague spiritual theories and look at a concrete case study from my private practice. To respect professional confidentiality, I have altered the personal identifiers, but the underlying architectural blueprint remains untouched. This is the structural breakdown of a client I will refer to as David. David was a 45-year-old regional logistics director. To the outside world, his life was a template of solid success, a stable corporate career, a long-term marriage, a house in a quiet suburb, and a strictly managed daily routine. But beneath this pristine surface lay a massive architectural flaw. David absolutely despised his life. His corporate career drained his spirit, but he stayed for the financial security and the social status. His 20-year marriage had turned into a frozen, silent arrangement built on pretense and mutual avoidance. David was living a massive, suffocating lie, but he chose comfortable numbness over painful authenticity. The turning point began 3 days before he ever encountered the stone. David experienced a dream so vivid and heavy that it physically altered his waking state. In the dream, he stood in the hallway of his childhood home. At the end of the corridor stood his deceased parents. They did not speak. They simply stared at him with an expression of profound, unblinking gravity. His father stepped forward, took David's heavy corporate watch from his wrist, dropped it onto the floor, and stepped on it, shattering the glass. His mother then handed him a small, burning coal that scorched his left palm, before the entire house around them silently dissolved into ash. David woke up in a cold sweat, with a lingering sensation of heat in his left hand and a heavy, inexplicable feeling of impending doom. His logical mind dismissed it as stress, but his subconscious knew a systemic shift had already been set in motion. His internal field was actively searching for the catalyst to break the stagnation. 2 days later, still carrying the heavy energy of that warning, David walked past an esoteric shop and felt an intense, almost magnetic pull to enter. On the counter lay a premium piece of genuine, raw Czech Moldavite, a jagged, forest green stone born of a cosmic collision. The moment David picked it up, his left palm, the exact spot that had burned in his dream, began to tingle with intense heat. Ignoring a deep internal warning, he purchased the stone, put it on a silver chain, and began wearing it under his shirt. What followed is the most critical part of the mechanism. Moldavite did not strike him down instantly. Instead, for the first 5 days, it gave him the dangerous illusion of an incredible ascent. Suddenly, David felt an overwhelming surge of energy. His chronic fatigue vanished. He felt confident, sharp, and utterly invincible. But this high-frequency current was actually overactivating his ego. Under the influence of this intense voltage, David lost his usual cautious diplomatic mask. At work, he became aggressively confrontational, arrogantly dismissing corporate protocols and overestimating his position. At home, he stopped playing the role of the quiet, compliant husband and began speaking his mind with a raw, brutal honesty that his wife had never experienced. He thought the stone had made him a king. In reality, it was accelerating his friction with a fragile environment. The collapse happened with terrifying, synchronized velocity. On the 12th day, David's newly amplified arrogance backfired. His defiance at work prompted senior management to initiate an unannounced external audit into his department. A deep digital check flagged a massive chain of systemic compliance errors and unmanaged high-risk contracts, errors that David had carelessly signed off on months ago because he had been too emotionally numb to read the fine print. Because of his hostile attitude during the investigation, the company did not offer him a polite resignation. He was summarily terminated with cause, facing the immediate loss of all corporate options and the threat of a massive corporate lawsuit. His professional identity vanished in 48 hours. 5 days later, the shockwave hit his home. Returning to his house in a state of absolute psychological pressure, David confronted his wife. The conversation instantly cracked open the vault of their suppressed reality. Decades of hidden resentment, unspoken truths, and absolute emotional detachment boiled over. Under the ruthless pressure of the truth, his wife admitted she had been emotionally checked out of the marriage for years, packed her essential belongings, and left the house, handing him a hostile legal separation notice. By the 24th day, David was sitting alone in a silent, empty house, facing financial ruin, legal battles, and absolute isolation. He took off the silver chain, looked at the green stone, and realized with terror that the burning sensation in his hand matched the exact sequence of his dream. The house of cards had burned to ash, exactly as his parents had warned. Nearly 2 years later, I crossed paths with David again. The expensive suits were gone. He had sold the suburban house to settle the corporate lawsuits, moved into a small urban apartment, and was quietly building his own independent, honest consulting practice. He looked visibly older, but his eyes were remarkably clear and calm. He held out his left hand, showed me the small, faint mark on his palm, and said something I will never forget. If I hadn't bought that green stone, I would still be slowly dying in that corporate leather chair, pretending to love a woman who despised me. It took a cosmic wrecking ball to shatter my illusions, but it was the only way I could ever build a real life. Let us perform a cold, analytical autopsy on David's tragedy. What part of this was pure earthly psychology, and what part was genuine spiritual mechanics? Let us be realistic. The stone did not write the faulty corporate reports, nor did it create the emotional void in his marriage. David's life was an energetic bankrupt pretending to be a millionaire. The structural decay had been accumulating for a decade. But why did the collapse happen with such synchronized, unbuffered speed? This is where the true nature of Moldavite reveals itself. Moldavite is a tektite, carrying the permanent frequency of a cosmic shockwave born of fire and impact. When David introduced this high-voltage conductor into his stagnant field, it acted like a massive power surge entering an old, degraded electrical grid. The stone aggressively agitates the underlying friction you try to hide from yourself. The initial surge made him reckless, forcing him to unconsciously sabotage his own false structures. It shattered his emotional numbness, making it physically impossible for him and his environment to maintain the lie for even one more day. The dream was his subconscious mind recognizing that the structure was ready to collapse. The Moldavite was simply the physical accelerant that fast-forwarded the expiration date of everything that was already dead in David's reality. It didn't curse him, it performed an unanesthetized surgical operation to force him onto an authentic path. This brings us to the physical and physiological symptoms that people experience when they touch this tektite, a phenomenon widely known as the Moldavite flush. When a person holds a genuine piece of this stone, they often feel an immediate, intense wave of heat rushing up their arms and directly into their chest. Their heart rate noticeably increases. They may experience sudden dizziness, a strange tingling in their hands, or an intense wave of unexplained emotion, such as sudden grief or unprovoked anger. From a structural standpoint, this is a basic issue of energetic resistance. Your physical body and your nervous system possess a specific, calibrated capacity for energy. If you are ungrounded, meaning you live entirely in your analytical mind, neglect your physical health, and have no connection to the stabilizing rhythm of the physical earth, your internal wiring is thin and brittle. From a structural standpoint, when you introduce a high-voltage cosmic conductor like Moldavite, it forces a massive surge of current through your delicate system. The network experiences an immediate overload. The stone begins to aggressively flush out suppressed blockages and hidden cellular memories. Because your nervous system cannot process this massive volume of data all at once, it translates the energetic friction into physical symptoms: heat, palpitations, and anxiety. This is exactly why casual enthusiasts end up throwing their Moldavite away. They wanted a fashionable spiritual accessory to fix their life, but they accidentally invited a ruthless master builder into their home, who immediately began tearing down the rotten walls. By the way, if you appreciate this structured, logical, and uncompromising approach to ancient wisdom and real-world case studies, take a moment right now to subscribe to the Esoteric Architect, hit the like button, and share this audio broadcast. Your support is the only resource that allows me to maintain this independent space, free from mainstream commercial illusions. Let us build a clear-headed, mature community together. If you evaluate your current life path and decide that you are truly ready for this level of rapid, uncompromising evolution, you must approach Moldavite with absolute discipline. You cannot handle an industrial demolition tool with the carelessness of a child. You must implement strict grounding protocols to safely anchor this cosmic frequency into the physical earth. First, practice gradual integration. Never wear an authentic piece of Moldavite 24 hours a day when you first receive it. Do not sleep with it under your pillow. Introduce it to your field for 5 minutes during a quiet morning session, then place it in a separate room. Allow your nervous system to slowly upgrade its capacity and build the required resilience to handle the new voltage safely. Second, you must balance the airborne, high-velocity frequency of Moldavite with heavy, dense, deeply terrestrial anchors. Never use Moldavite in isolation if you are naturally prone to anxiety or emotional instability. You must pair it with powerful, heavy-element grounding minerals. Place a piece of black tourmaline or raw hematite next to your Moldavite. These terrestrial stones act as your spiritual surge protectors. They take the excess cosmic voltage and safely bleed it down into the earth, preventing mental fatigue and protecting your nervous system. Finally, maintain absolute physical presence. The higher you want to reach into cosmic consciousness, the deeper your roots must go into the physical ground. Walk on the physical earth with intention, drink large amounts of clean water, exercise your body, and manage your daily finances with cold, mathematical clarity. Do not use esoterics as an escape from reality. Use your physical stability as a secure platform to launch your evolution. Let us summarize our architecture today. The Moldavite curse is an illusion born of fear. It is nothing more than the natural, predictable reaction of a compromised life structure colliding with an unyielding cosmic force. Moldavite is a magnificent, premium asset for anyone who is entirely done with compromises, done with self-deception, and ready for rapid, authentic alignment. But if you are currently looking for comfort, safety, simple emotional reassurance, and a quiet, predictable life, stay far away from it. It is not designed for your comfort. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever encountered a genuine piece of Moldavite? Did you feel the physical flush, or did it trigger a sudden, chaotic shift in your career, your finances, or your relationships? Drop your observations and your questions in the comments below. I read every single comment, and we will analyze them together in our upcoming broadcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to esoteric.architect, leave your comment, and share this video. Stay grounded, keep your foundations solid, and I will see you in the next broadcast.